Hi everyone, I'm Fazlin and today I will be talking about Malaysian government and climate change. The discussion on climate change mostly centralized on the anthropogenic carbon dioxide and methane emission which are caused by the industrialization and urbanization. Burning of fossil fuels holds the major contributor to climate crisis. The special report on global warming released by the IPCC on 8 October 2018 identified Southeast Asia as among the regions that would be the hardest hit by climate change in the near future. Specific negative effects for Malaysia would include changes in rain patterns, rising mean sea levels and related coastal flooding and more frequent extreme weather events. As the Industrial Revolution acceleration commenced, we did not realize initially but now know that we have become influential geological actors who not only are part of nature but have fundamentally shaped planetary systems. In 2015, United Nations have agreed on a set of 17 Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs, which comprise of 169 targets and 232 indicators. According to the 13th SDG, which is climate action, as greenhouse gas levels continue to climb, climate change is occurring much faster than anticipated and its effects are evident worldwide. Theoretically, SDGs sounds amazing and deemed as a holistic approach to tackle the sustainability issues. However, they are difficult to implement due to having too many goals and targets, lacking clarity and having overlapping objectives. Therefore, national climate actions must be implemented and enforced successfully in order to meet the SDGs. Before SDGs were even set, Malaysia has already shown the efforts to engage with international climate efforts, though not completely, by signing and ratifying the UNFCCC and the Kyoto Protocol. However, these ratifications were only weakly supported by national policies as the debate are largely over resource allocation. The fourth Prime Minister at that time, Mahathir's cabinet, finally approved the 2002 National Policy on the Environment after a 6-year delay. After many years of strong economic performance fueled by natural resources, this policy was unpopular among influential business groups, fearing that it would affect continued economic growth. This also influences on delayed Malaysia's ratification of the Paris Agreement, which it finally did on 16 November 2016. However, the Malaysian government eventually recognizes the impacts of climate change and has framed the National Policy on Climate Change in 2009 to promote efficient use of resources and environmental conservation via 5 principles: development on a sustainable path, conservation of environment and natural resources, coordinated implementation, effective participation, as well as common but differentiated responsibilities and respective capabilities. In National Policy on Climate Change, mitigation and adaptation to climate change occupy the central theme of the overarching study of climate change. Among the mitigation efforts done by Malaysia include the enactment of the efficient management of electrical energy regulations in 2008 to ensure electrical energy is efficiently managed, particularly for users or generators of electricity. There is also the National Biofuel Industry Act in 2007, which shows the national determination to promote the use of domestic palm biodiesel. As a result, in 2013, Malaysia achieved a 719.76 kiloton carbon dioxide reduction of GHGs emission. In addition, the National Land Public Transport Master Plan from 2012 to 2030 was launched to enhance planning of public transportation and manage increasing private vehicles, as it was reported that the transportation sector in Malaysia produced close to 15 million metric tons of carbon dioxide and 85.2% of the emissions came from road transport. On the other hand, while the elements of adaptations may have been captured in the National Policy on Climate Change and the Malaysia Plans, they are not as conspicuous as those of mitigation. This could make Malaysia highly vulnerable to the impacts of climate change such as drought, flood and erosion, biodiversity, agriculture and coastal marine habitat. Thus, to address critical needs of people affected, active physical planning involving consultation with stakeholders, with public participation in the preparation of local development plans, with the Federal Department of Town and Country Planning to incorporate disaster resilience for adaptation to climate change is highly recommended. Apparently, society also holds the power and can be part of the environmental solution. In China, environmental issue has become the biggest reason for mass demonstration. So they collected sufficient data and empowered the government to strive towards green policy and renewable energy such as solar and wind energy. Although they are still relying heavily on fossil fuels, but they are also transitioning to renewable energy much faster than others are anticipating. This is the highest form of public participation and an example of bottom-up approach because the society input influences the decision-making of the government. In conclusion, I believe climate change is a social problem with environmental characteristics. However, Malaysia as a society still has a long way to go with public awareness about climate change remaining low at 32% to 40%. Aside from mitigation and adaptation, I think the Malaysia government must first focus on the basic climate education to induce active participation and collaboration from the society. Thus, in order to respond to the challenges of the climate change, a synergy between social, legal and sustainability must be achieved. Thank you.